Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch, and today I'm going to be discussing this Saturday's HBO fight between Danny Jacobs and Sergiy Derevyanchenko, which is going down in the middleweight division. Also on that card, Heather Hardy is fighting, who is a staple on New York undercards. Very exciting fighter, and only the second women's boxing match that's going to be shown on HBO. Unfortunately, we know that after December, they're not showing any more boxing on HBO, which is heartbreaking because I grew up watching HBO boxing, so to see it go is a little bittersweet. I was a little tired of some of the commentators they had, but I still enjoyed the fights that they were putting on because I enjoyed a majority of the fights being put on anyway because I just love the sport. So let me get into these two fighters. Both men are actually trained in the exact same camp. They have the same trainers. They've been sparring together for the better part of 3 years, and that makes this match very interesting. For this particular fight, the Gary Stark Sr. and Andre Rozier, who run the gym that both these fighters work out of, have split the camps. I believe Danny Jacobs went to California to train with Rozier, and Derevyanchenko stayed in, I think he went out to Colorado with Gary Stark Sr. So these guys know each other very well. They sparred hundreds of rounds against each other in the gym. They're both, Jacobs is a top contender and a world title challenger, also a former world champion. And Derevyanchenko is on the up and coming. He was a mandatory to Golovkin, but he recently lost those titles to Saul Alvarez. But this fight here is for, I believe, the mandatory to, I want to say it's either WBA or, let me find that out real quick. Because the Jamal Charlo is supposed to be fighting for the WBC belt. Danny Jacobs. So while I look that up, I'm going to talk about the skills of Derevyanchenko, because I think he has a very, on surface level, basic style, but he comes from that Ukrainian school of boxing, the same school that Vasily Lomachenko, Alexander Usyk, and quite a few other boxers of prominence you've seen over the last 2 years on that stage. They're very technically sound. They have excellent footwork. They have nice punch placement and timing. He's not the fastest guy, but he can get his feet to where they need to be, and he seems to always be in position to punch from the fights that I've seen of him. He also likes to cut excellent angles, especially on the inside. I love that. And he is a patient fighter as well. One would call him a slow starter. So I'm looking at ESPN now, and they don't even say which belt that they're going to be fighting for. They just say that it was one of the titles stripped from Golovkin. And honestly, it's not that consequential because we know Canelo is the lineal middleweight champion and he owns most of the belts. So I'm not even sure, like I said, which one is going to be. Either way, Derevyanchenko, while he doesn't have the fleet footwork of, say, a Lomachenko or even Usyk, like I say, he's very deliberate with where he goes. So he's like a mix of those two guys and I would say a Ruslan Provodnikov, because he throws heavy shots that may not get you out of there in the first round, but come the 5th, 6th round, you're going to start feeling those punches. The only thing is, in Danny Jacobs, he's fighting someone who has fought him in the gym several times. That could be a plus for him as well. They will both know what each other likes to do. They'll both know their tendencies. So it'll be interesting to see what wrinkles that the trainers take to elevate the other fighters' games to offset the hundreds and hundreds of rounds they spent sparring, the time they spent together training, not just sparring, but hitting the bag, working the mitts, everything that they do, whereas they've been doing this together for several years. Jacobs, being a bigger, faster, stronger, more explosive fighter, he has a lot of the intangibles that would make this seem like an easy victory for him. But because of the angle that they know each other, it doesn't quite work like that. And also, Danny Jacobs is very easily hit for all his athletic prowess. I want to say Derevyanchenko's footwork is a little bit better than Jacobs. I think he can get to spots a little bit quicker. Jacobs sometimes he does some extra movements with his feet. He's not always in position to punch like Derevyanchenko, but when he does land, he gets your attention. Now, he does have one-punch knockout power, and to this point, Derevyanchenko hasn't shown that he has a chin problem, but now that they're fighting no headgear, under the big lights, maybe one of those punches bothers him. I actually doubt that. I think this fight's going to go the distance because, like I said, these guys know each other and they're going to come at each other because of the opportunity at hand, but they're both veteran boxers that, unless one of them gets clipped with something they don't see, this will be a hard-fought 12-round fight that I think Jacobs will win. Like I said, because he's a little bit taller, he's a little bit longer, he's a little bit stronger. His punches are going to show more than Derevyanchenko because, like I said, he is one of those punchers that has punches that stick with you. They linger. They're sore for rounds at a time, whereas Jacobs, you see the head snapping, you see the guy backing up, you see the guy going down. Whereas Derevyanchenko, you see, he's landing and you slowly see the guy wilting. And then he's gearing up for the stoppage after that. So I'm taking Jacobs by a close unanimous decision. No more than 8-4 rounds. I'm going to say 7-5 or 8-4. In an entertaining fight that we'll see both guys fighting on the inside. Jacobs using his jab. Derevyanchenko does use his jab a lot. And he can fight going backwards and going forwards. And like I said, he likes to create angles going on the inside. But I'm expecting Jacobs to already know that and have counters to it and also be doing the same things. So it's basically going to come down to who lands more and who lands more judge-friendly punches. And I think that's going to be Danny Jacobs. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your predictions down in the comment section below. Rob will be bringing you the fight between Regis Prograis and Terry Flanagan that's also happened this weekend. And I think that's part of the World Boxing Super Series at 140. So that's going to be another good fight that you guys can check out this weekend. I think they have some UFC this weekend as well. I'm not sure who's fighting on it, but I've seen the press clippings for that coming up. Anyway, like this video, subscribe so you can see all the other boxing and MMA discussions that we have. And we'll see you guys in the recap. Until then, fight on.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we done is coming and gone. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.